Well, this is overwhelming. I have to say, I've had a few farewell events, but this is really very emotional for me. One reason I'm also, like George, a lover of history, and for me, this is a very, very special event because of the history of the family that I married into. And I'm here with my wife, Julie, my wife Julie was born in Los Angeles, and what makes her unique is that, and our son Adam, who's not here tonight, was also born in Los Angeles. Adam is a fourth generation Californian, which is quite a unique achievement for a son of Israeli diplomat. And the reason why he's a fourth generation Californian is because Julie's grandfather, Louis Boyer, who was one of the biggest developers in Southern California, was born in San Francisco in 1898. Why am I mentioning Louis Boyer to you tonight? Because when Lou Boyer bought into the idea of Zionism in the 30s, through his wife, named May Boyer, who was a very close friend of Golda Meir, one of the things that he did was he joined, and in fact established, the American Friends Office of Hebrew University on the West Coast, became its first president. And when the university decided to build a new campus on Mount Scopus, he was the person who chaired the campaign and raised hundreds of millions of dollars to build a new campus. And today, of course, when you visit the campus, there's a Lou Boyer building. He did it with his lifelong friend, Sam Rothberg, who was much younger than Lou Boyer. Lou Boyer unfortunately died in 1976. But his legacy continues because his two great-granddaughters, my daughter Talia was here tonight, and her sister Sharon, both went to the Hebrew University. Talia is a graduate of the law school at the Hebrew U. And so for us, this event tonight is a family affair. And I have to say a big thank you to all of you, and especially to the dear friends that made a special effort to be here. And I want to thank, in the first place, my dear friends Shuki and Tori, who came all the way from Los Angeles. Tori, you moved me with your incredible words and wit and wisdom. And of course, you captured our hearts with your amazing blog. If I can shamelessly plug in, check out her blog. It's called The Shiksa in the Kitchen. It's one of the best blogs. One of the best food blogs, The Shiksa in the Kitchen. Shuki is all heart. Here's a man, one of the most successful Israelis ever in Hollywood, who produced the Power Rangers, became world famous, but never forgot where he came from, and works day in, day out to protect our people. I just visited Shuki in his home in Los Angeles, and guess what? His television is open on the Israeli channel 24/7. He's watching Israeli news all the time. He knows what's going on in Israel better than most Israelis. And Shuki is a very, very dear friend of mine, and when I brought up the idea of celebrating the concept of Albert Einstein, owning that niche of creativity through the genius of Albert Einstein, which we own. Think about it. You are all here in the room. You are owners of one of the world's greatest brand names, Albert Einstein. Most people don't grasp what it means, but we own that name. We own that brand. He is one of the founders of the university. He was one of the greatest Zionists of our time. He's right up there with Chaim Weizmann. He's right up there with Martin Buber. He's right up there with David Ben-Gurion, whose grandson, by the way, was the CEO of this hotel. Just to, another historical twist. Alon Ben-Gurion was the CEO of the Waldorf Astoria. And in fact, he should have been here tonight. I want to thank my dear friend, George Logotetis, and his wife, Nitzia, for being here tonight. George, I can't even begin to tell you how grateful we are for everything that you represent. To have someone like you, of your stature, of your caliber, to stand here and talk about our country in the way you did is incredible. George headlined a conference that we put together here in New York called Beyond 2016. Beyond is a conference that I conceived several years ago that is meant to associate Israel with inspiration. It's not about politics, it's not about business, It's about people telling stories how Israel touched their lives. And George gave a 15-minute speech. Incredible. It's available online again. I'm promoting shamelessly another piece of content. I will ask Beth McCoy to send to all the people tonight a link to his incredible speech. It's one of the best I've seen. So thank you, George, for everything that you've done. Thank you. Ajay Banga and his lovely wife Ritu are here. Ajay is the global CEO of MasterCard and one of the modern heroes of India. He is a business hero, but to me also a cultural hero and a friend. His wisdom is incredible. I've learned so much from you and Ritu. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for honoring me and my family. I'll never forget that. Avner Mendelssohn, the CEO of Bank Leumi USA, who was born in a kibbutz and ends up heading a bank in America. Can you imagine? How many kibbutzniks can think about that, right? Well, Avner, you've been a great friend, always there for us. I could not have done all the things that I did without your help, and you know that. You've been there whenever we needed you, when we celebrated, when we were facing difficult times. And as a leader with American Friends of Hebrew U, I believe that you have the power to take this organization up to the next level. And I thank you for everything that you've done. And of course, my two dear friends, the professionals, Beth McCoy was here with Susan Consort. Thank you, Beth, for seeing the potential in this project. I know that in the beginning, before Beth came on board, I didn't really have people to talk to and the executive level of American Friends of Hebrew U, but since you came, I have a real partner, and I think we're able to push this forward. And of course, we could not have done any of the things that we did without the genius, the energy, the wisdom, and the creativity of my very, very dear friend Rami Kleinman. Where's Rami? I met Rami in Toronto some 8 years ago when I came to Toronto to run the brand Israel pilot. We chose Toronto because Toronto really is somewhere between Europe and the United States in terms of its, in terms of its makeup. And we chose to run the brand Israel pilot in Toronto, and that's where I met Rami. And from day one, we became strategic allies, partners in everything that we do. And he loves Israel the way we all do, and I love him for that. Thank you, Rami, for everything that you've done. George mentioned adversity, the opportunity in adversity. And I have here with me, I'm blessed to have both my parents here tonight. I have my mother Ahuva, who's 84 years old, was born in Tel Aviv in one of the roughest neighborhoods. My father, Emmanuel, was 91, is a Jerusalemite. My father's family, we're now facing this new emerging narrative that basically says that Israel is a colonialist power that deprived the indigenous people of the Palestinians of their land, and basically paints and depicts all of us as newcomers, as modern post-colonialist movement. This is really not the story of Zionism. My father's family came to Jerusalem in 1870. They came to Jerusalem almost 3 decades before the first Zionist Congress in Basel. My mother's parents came from Yemen when they were very young in 1913, 4 years before the Balfour Declaration that granted the Jews the right to have their national homeland in Palestine. And both my parents participated in the effort to build the State of Israel. My father fought in 1948. He was injured twice during the war, was sent to the front lines every time, again. George mentioned Shimon Peres. My father knows Shimon Peres since a very young age. They're of the same peer group. And when I'm standing here in front of you, I want you to know what it means to them. People talk about America as the land of opportunity, and there's no question about it. America is the land of opportunity. But when you look at my parents, and we look at me, standing here as an Israeli ambassador, surrounded by all of you, by your support, by your friendship, by your like-mindedness, to them it says that Israel is also an unbelievable land of opportunity. One last word about Albert Einstein. You know, we tell the story of his connection to the Zionist movement, and I was so inspired by what George said. When you think about Einstein, and Einstein certainly is one of the most famous people of our tribe, but he's not the only one. When you look at the list of the people that received the Nobel Prize in history, you'll see there are many members of the tribe. And when you look at Israel, you know, we talked about Mort Zuckerman giving $100 million to 4 Israeli universities. He gave the money to the universities in Israel that made it to the top 100 list according to the Shanghai Index. Now consider this. We have only 9 universities in Israel. So if 4 of them are in the top 100, think about what it says. And the question that I ask is, why? Why is it all happening? Is it only because of adversity? Probably. Has a lot to do with that. You know the old cliche, necessity is the mother of all invention. We inherited a very difficult situation, and as Shimon Peres said to you, the inspirational sentence, we were blessed to have nothing. That's true. But I think about our tradition. I think about Jewish thought. I think about the Talmudic experience. I think about the centrality of learning in our culture. Both my parents have no formal education. My mother didn't even finish elementary school. She had to go to work in Tel Aviv. Yet, the most important thing for them was that I will be educated. And what is it about education in our culture that creates the Albert Einsteins of the world? And it ties right into what George said. I believe it's the built-in, inherently built-in, refusal to accept limitations. It's the permission given to us in our culture to ask questions, to challenge authority, to be self-critical, to self-reflect. No wonder it's so difficult to do business with us. Because we always argue. Israelis are known for their argumentative nature. It's unbearable. Believe me, I have to deal with Israelis too. I try to avoid it, but I have to. Now, the very same argumentative nature of our people is the... I'm talking to another scientist from Hebrew U. His name is Kobi Nachmias. He's going to change the world of medicine, this guy. He left Harvard University because of the opportunity given to him at Hebrew U. And so it's that drive that we have to ask questions, to put at the very end of every sentence 2 words. So what? That's what makes our people so difficult and so unique and so creative and so productive at the same time. So I'd like to thank all of you for being here and honoring me, for allowing me to be your humble servant and to bring to light and to life this idea of celebrating Albert Einstein's spirit of creativity. Thank you so much.
Ido, you are terrific. And
They didn't hear you.
I said, Ido, you are terrific. And I'm pleased to have Rami Klein, as the president of Canadian Friends of the Hebrew University, join us today as we say thank you, Ido, for your exemplary service as Consul General. We are so fortunate to have developed a close working relationship during your years here in New York. Your positive impact is significant, and we are especially grateful for all that you have done on behalf of Israel, the Hebrew University, and for sharing your vision for the Albert Einstein Foundation. As we celebrate the 100th anniversary of Albert Einstein's theory of relativity and your 25 years of service to Israel as a foreign ministry, we're pleased to be here together to pay tribute to you as we launch our American efforts on behalf of the Albert Einstein Foundation. We know that you will continue to be part of our shared vision for what Albert Einstein would want us to accomplish, and we are now in partnership with the Smithsonian Institution and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. So, we have something very special for you. And it's a surprise. Guess what? That we present you with this bust of Hebrew University's founding father, Albert Einstein, to remind you of your Hebrew University family and the legacy that Einstein envisioned and what you have championed, a world-class university that inspires creative minds, strengthens Israel, and continues to the advancement of humankind on a global scale. We thank you for your support, your dedication, your friendship, and we wish you all the very best as you begin an exciting new chapter.
Thank you. Of course. Let's put Alvin here too.